This is Muhammad Zahid with Engineering Training Platform. From this training platform, you will able to learn step-by-step PLC and to get high score in interview and certification. Hello friends, we are going to discuss about program blocks, modular program, CPU memory, assigning CPU memory areas to instruction, and data types. For my previous lecture, I already linked in below description. Please subscribe, like, and press the bell icon to get the further notification. Now we will discuss about program blocks. Here you can see in the picture the example to create and add the new block. There are three types of program blocks available in S7 PLC programs: organization block, function blocks, and functions. Program blocks are also called the code blocks, which include the instructions. Function block doesn't mean the same things as function block diagram. Function block diagram is a programming language, and any of three types of program blocks can be programmed in any of the allowed programming languages. Organization block define the structure of the program. Every program must have at least one OB. In a linear program, it has only one OB. That block is identified as OB1 and all the code is in OB1. A modular program can be composed of multiple OBs and with a unique number. OB1 is the main program block and it controls the execution of user program. OB1 is also called a program cycle OB because it is executed each scan cycle while the CPU in run mode. A PLC program can have additional program cycle OBs as well as other types of OBs that are executed conditionally, such as at startup, at set time, intervals, or when an interrupt occurs. Functions and function block contain the program code that perform a specific task. An FP uses associated DBs. An instance DB stores data for one FP. A global DB contains data that is available to any code block. An FC cannot have an instance DB and the output data values from the FC must be written to memory addresses or to a global DB. Functions and function blocks are often referred to as a subroutine, and a subroutine is a portion of a program that is executed when certain conditions are met. In my previous presentation, I already discussed about linear programs and modular program, and here you can see in the detail, you can see in the picture, this can easily be done using one FP, that is called multiple times, as per PLC scan using a different instance DB for each motors. You can see here in the picture, this is the scan functions, and we define here one main organization block, and from organization block it will go to the function blocks or motors, and it will come again to the organization block. It will be scan and then go again for the function blocks for motors, then simultaneously it will be work. And here you can see define the different instance DB for each motors, and simultaneously it will be scan all the blocks including with the instance DB. A common modular program application involves one PLC controlling multiple machines or devices with the same functionality. For example, a factory may have multiple motors that must be controlled in the same way by the same PLC. Now we will discuss about the CPU memory. In my previous presentation, I already covered the topic for the memories, but here I will explain further. You can see here in the picture for S7 1500 PLC CPU with Cymatic memory card slot, because the load memory is stored on Cymatic memory cards. The following S7 CPU have memory areas: load memories, work memory, retentive memories, local memory, global memories. And memories types varies depend on the CPU model. Load memory is non-volatile memory and store all code blocks, data blocks, technology objects, and hardware configuration. Load memory is retentive memory, which means that is configured by the user to maintain values through a power cycle or a program to run transition. Load memory contents are retained in the events of a power loss. Load memories for an S7 1500 CPU is stored in the memory card. Load memory for an S7 1200 CPU can be stored either in the CPU or on a Cymatic memory card. A Cymatic memory card can also be used to transfer the user program and data to another CPU. The CPU copies some elements of the user program from load memory into work memory during program execution. Work memory is volatile memory, which means that the content of work memories are lost when power is lost. Volatile memories for a part of the user program during program execution. But the CPU restores work memory content when power is reapplied. Work memory is an S7 1500 CPU is divided into two areas: code work memories and data work memory. Code work memory contain part of the program code, and data work memory contain part of the data blocks and technology objects. Now we will discuss about the retentive memory. Retentive memory is non-volatile memory for saving a limited quantity of data. Load memory for S7 1200 CPU can be stored either in the CPU or in Cymatic memory card. Retentive means the component which will not forget its value when the system restarts. For example, we have a contact placed in the output of a push button, and this counter is counting our input. When our system mistaken restart, this will not forget its value if this is a retentive contact. In short, retentive don't forget its value. Now here I will take just a minute to explain about the non-retentive. Non-retentive memory is memory that is configured by the PLC user to clear data after a power cycle or a program to run transition. Non-retentive means the component which will forget its value when the system will restart. For instance, we are using a contact in the output and it is counting something in the output. Now suddenly the system restart. This contact will start from zero position again because it cannot remember the value. This will forget previous value. Local memory is temporary memory using during the processing of a program block. Global memory is memory that is accessible to any program block in the user program. And global memory include bit memory and image tables for input and output. You can see here in the picture the normally open contact instruction and output while instruction. Here we are explaining about assigning CPU memory areas to instruction. It is the input and output is preceded by the percentage and I indicating for the input and Q indicating for output. And this is the address 2.4 3.2. The most instruction in a PLC program interact with one or more bits, bytes or words in the CPU memory. The amount of memory used depend on the types of instruction. The specific memory location used are identified by operand. The instruction each use a 1-bit memory location. The operand for the normally open contact instruction indicates that this instruction is controlled by I2.4 status bit, and the operand for the output while instruction indicates that this instruction control the Q3.2 status bit. This type of operand is called an absolute operand and is preceded by the percentage symbols when displayed in Step 7 TIA portal. Step 7 also allow use of alphanumeric tags, as you can see in the picture, as operand. Tags are useful because they aid understanding of the program. A tag preceded by hash is assigned to one program block. A tag enclosed in quotation mark is available to any program block. For example, a normally open contact instruction might have a tag such as start motor 1 to indicate that is being controlled by the start push button for motor 2, or an output while instruction might have a tag such as motor 2 to indicate that is controlling motor 2. You can see here in the picture A, one way a tag can be created is by assigning it to an instruction in the user program and then dragging the tag to the associated input or output in the device view. As tags are created in the user program, they are also added to the PLC tag tables. You can see here in the picture B, another way to create a tag is by entering it into the PLC tag table directly and then dragging the tag to an input or output in the device view. With either approach, the PLC tag table is a useful tool for keeping tracks or tags. Here we will discuss about the data types, and I already explained the binary numbers, integers, real number data types in my previous presentations. But here I explain with the programs to determine how an instruction in a PLC program interpret bits in the location designated by the instructions operand. You must know the data types, the instruction assigned to these bits. There are many data types and they are often represented by shortened names such as dwords or sint. For example, the graphic show up multiple instructions with assigned integer data types. As shown in the lower part of this graphics, the instructions data type can be easily changed. When making this selection, make sure that the data type is compatible with the instruction operand. PLC data types of various length are specified for binary numbers, integers, floating point numbers, date and time, characters, parameters, system data and other type of data. Because the number of data types has increased over time, not all data types are available for Siemens PLC. You can see here in the table show the binary numbers, integers and real number data types available for some modular Siemens PLC. Additional information on these and other data types is available in the documentation for each PLC model. This is end of lecture. Please help to subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching.